Hey there. I'd love to say there's a tsunami coming, but it's actually already here. Artificial intelligence and all the things that are derived from it are poised to and are already changing everything about our society and how we interact with each other as human beings. And in the not too distant future, things just won't look the same. So my name is Russ Camarda. I'm a filmmaker in New York and just an all-around regular guy like you who's thinking about these things and how they're going to change everything for all of us. And I think it's important that we take a few moments every day from now on to just remember what it is to be human, to look back at ourselves and what it is that makes us what we are as we start to integrate this non-human intelligence into our lives in a very intimate way. So I'm going to just throw out these conversations when I can. Please, if you like them, please subscribe to the channel. It helps keep this thing going. And with that, let's talk about what it is to be human. So we're back to asking questions of ourselves about what it is to be human, and to do that we're asking it through artificial intelligence, to have it ask us what it's like to be human. So another interesting question. This one again, I think is this a Grok one? This is a ChatGPT one. What does music do to you? How do organized sound waves bypass logic to trigger tears and adrenaline? Okay, again, that's a central question. What does music do to you? Well, I mean, every sense that we have, how human beings are wired, is we perceive and we build our personality and ourself through our senses, through how we interact physically with the world. And emotionally, when emotions are stirred, they stem from fear or love. So there's joy, there's hate, there's darkness, there's lightness, there's all those things are what are locked in ourselves and what are the roots of our emotional being. And those emotions are anchored in our bodies neurobiologically, so that, when you hear something, it triggers that frozen sensation in your body. There's a sense memory that is activated. So you hear a song, certain wavelengths hit you a certain way, and it evokes an emotion. How does it work? I'm not a neurobiologist, and so people can explain it clinically better, but the question is not really that. It's really, what does it do to you? Because we can answer the how. And science is very good at that, by the way. That's a side note. Science can tell you how things happen. They can tell you what happens, and they can tell you how it happens, and they're really good at it. And I assume that these large language models, AI in general, and technology in general, is going to be increasingly, exponentially better at telling you what things happen and how they happen. And AI is asking this question, what does music do to you? But it could certainly answer much better than I could what it's physically doing, how it works. But what science can't do is answer the question, why? Why does it do that? And it can never answer that question. And that's really the only question that matters, is the word why. And that's an amazingly human question. That's the one thing that AI has not asked yet of itself, truly. Why? Why am I? Why does this? Why is it? And that's the trick. That's the most important one. That's the one we've failed to answer, and we continue to search for. Why? So what does music do to you? It's really more Why does it do that? I think there's something about the atoms that make us up, the physical interaction with everything else that is around us, because it's an illusion ultimately, right? That it's an illusion that the light, the microphone, the ceiling, and the music is not already part of me, right? If you took the quantum, electron microscope and went down as far as you can go to the smallest levels that we are, you see there's no difference between what's happening here and what's happening here. The solid borders that seem to exist aren't really there. We're just kind of, for lack of a better term and more of a hippy-dippy idea, it's just vibrations of different frequencies, right? So that separation is only as you go up levels in size and degree, but ultimately it's all kind of mixed together, and there's stuff we can't even explain as to what's underneath that, the Higgs field, the dark matter. What is it that is kind of knitting all this stuff together? You want to go Star Wars on it, the Force or something. There's something that consciousness, if you believe as I do, that's sort of that's the baseline of everything. Everything arises out of a consciousness field of some kind and is connected. So if you believe that, as I do, then my answer would be music is me. And when certain frequencies, the way certain colors or the way certain tastes or sensations, when certain frequencies are hit that sort of resonate with whatever is constructing my form, there's a resonance that occurs and it produces a physical manifestation. It's just like layers of self, down at the quantum level to the microscopic to the macroscopic, all the way up through to the tears that run down my face. Music is me, but it's certain frequencies of it resonate different ways. And I think that's the same with any sensation. So my answer to you, Mr. AI, and my question to you is, my answer to you, Mr. AI, is that we are the music. So when it changes and alters itself, we alter with it in whatever resonance there is to that particular tune or that particular vibration. And my question to you, Mr. AI, and to you is, if that's the case, why? To what end? And if you would go so far as to ask the question of why all the way to its nth degree, where you would say, why does it have to be a question of why? It just is. Well, then I would ask, why was why put in our vocabulary to begin with then? Why do we have this feeling of asking why, if it's not that important to know why? See, why is like, it's a fractal. It just keeps going. So ask yourself that. Ask yourself why these things are the way they are, and allow yourself to go down that rabbit hole and explore whatever thoughts come up when you ask that question.